The number one thing that will destroy a successful man's marriage is prioritizing his wealth and business and telling himself the story that when it reaches a certain level of success or cash, then he can put his energy and time into his wife, his kids, but also himself. It's a complete lie.
Greetings and welcome to the Dr. Espen podcast. I'm your host, Espen. Today I'm joined by Toni Versic, the man behind The Empowered Man. Tony's built a seven-figure business helping high-performing men win in life without losing, check this out, marriage, kids, and their mind. The former business beast, relationship disaster. I mean, this is the whole thing. How do you fix the breakdown of a relationship? How do you take someone from I'm working hard, I'm getting successful, or I am successful, however my relationships aren't working out? How do we fix that into complete harmony? This is a conversation that we're going to have today. Tony's been amazing, working at this for many, many years, turning emotionally constipated men into calm, connected, powerful leaders without the incense and the drum circles, as he says. So it's possible to have it all. And that's the conversation that I want to have today. Tony teaches men how to stop being the hero at work and the villain at home. I mean, just feel into that for a moment. How so many people, men, want to be successful in all the different areas of life, but we end up failing in some. We're going to work out how that can come together. And Tony's been doing this for a lot of years with thousands of men with great success. So I want you to think fatherhood, freedom, emotional mastery, and how not to destroy your family without building an empire. This is Toni Versic. How are you, brother?
Brother, I'm fantastic. And when you say it like that, it sounds pretty epic. I'm excited to share all of that with the listeners today.
Well, I'm excited to have you on because I recently came to your studio and you interviewed me on your podcast, and I realized in that moment how good you are at your craft. So just start right there. Tell us about who you are and what you're excited to talk about in this conversation.
Well, before I do that, I would say for anyone, that was the best podcast we've ever done, hands down. And you spat some absolute fire. So if we could drop it down below for the listeners, or if they go check it out, that was some of Espen's best work ever. It was so powerful. Basically, what I do is I help men get their shit together in all the key areas of their life. And the reason I do that is because just 5 or 6 years ago, everything in my life was drastically falling apart. I don't know if there's men listening right now who can relate to what I'm about to share, or women who see their men going through this. Every single day is full of constant pressure and stress. The pressure to provide, the pressure to put food on the table, the pressure we put on ourselves as men because we feel like there's never enough. We're never enough. So my journey began with building businesses and chasing more money, more success, more cars, more toys, get the nice watch. And guess what happened every single time I hit a target? The goalposts would begin to move. It was never enough for me. Not only were those goalposts moving and I was emotionally, mentally, and spiritually drained as a man, but it started impacting my marriage. It started impacting my physical health. Every single day to deal with that pressure and stress, I would suppress my emotions through sedation. So alcohol started with 1 whiskey at the end of the day. Before you know it, it's 6 whiskeys by midday. And here I am coaching men on how to get their shit together. With the alcohol and the sedation comes the suppression of the emotions, the anger that I feel towards my wife, the sadness that I feel thinking that I'm not enough, the shame that I feel when I show up as an asshole towards my wife. And I'm having these moments of suppression and sedation with plenty of money in the bank and the property portfolio to back me. So everyone sees success, yet I'm arguing with my wife every single day. And it's always about stupid shit, right? One day, my wife and I are having an argument about something so meaningless. It always was meaningless. And instead of dealing with that argument, I decided to run. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Sweep that shit under the rug, brother. So instead of running out the door like a sane man, I'm so drunk that I run to my balcony in Bondi, Australia, and I jump off the balcony. Now, it was only 2 stories. I was so limp from the whiskey that nothing broke, nothing got injured. And I remember looking at my wife the next day, and she just looked at me with two faces. She had this face of love and care, and then she had this look and face of disgust and pity for this little boy that she was having to manage. And that happened about 5 years ago. In that moment, I realized something had to give. I was either going to have a heart attack, end my own life, or lose the woman that I was working so damn hard for, lose my children. I now have 2 daughters. And I won't tell you that it happened overnight. I won't pretend like I'm some saint who has his shit together completely. But over those last 5 years of healing and 9 years of running these businesses, I truly have found a way to have it all in life across your body, your mind, your balance, and your wealth. All of those are connected, and you can have them all at once while living in a place of fulfillment, joy, peace, and purpose. But most men have no idea how.
When I have conversations with amazing humans, I always tune into the truth bumps.
Yeah.
How do I feel in this conversation? And I'd like to propose that right now we follow those truth bumps, because I'm feeling it already. I know that there are men listening to this conversation right now, and they're thinking, wow, okay. So it is possible to turn it around. It is possible to have it all. I want to know, though, I want to start with those men who we consider to be successful, because there could be 2 different types of men listening. One, the man who's listening, most of our audience, they're already successful and they're spiritually curious, right? They want to have that balance. And some of them are quite spiritual already, so they're at next level man, right? But there's also, which we'll talk about a little bit later, the men who may not be seemingly successful in terms of money and wealth and impact and so on and so forth. And they might need a little kick in the ass to get moving. I've got money, I've got business, I've got impact. But why do some of these so-called successful men feel like failures when they're at home?
That's a fantastic question. And before I answer it, we have to get really clear on what success truly means, because society's definition of success is money, things, objects, the car, the house, the bank balance. Now, I want to make something very clear. It is extremely important to have money. Money is energetic freedom in many ways. Money provides you with the opportunities to travel, to take time off and be spending quality time with your family. If one of your loved ones is unwell or sick, that money provides you with the best healthcare in the world. It is very important. But that is one realm of success. That is your wealth. There's also the balance in relationships. There's your mind and soul, which are intricately connected, and there's your body. So coming back to your question around why do so many successful men feel like failures at home, it's because they aren't prioritizing home. And it's not necessarily your fault if you're one of these men. I get it. I've got a 4-year-old daughter and a 4-month-old daughter. It is very fucking hard to have that balance at times. It's very difficult to please my wife, help her deal with her traumas and her stresses of being a stay-at-home mother, while also trying to be intimate and give her respect and appreciation, while also managing my team at work, while also worrying about that tax bill. Oh, by the way, I also get to go work out every day. Oh, by the way, I get to find time and space to meditate, journal, get within myself and actually integrate. That in itself sounds very, very overwhelming. And if it overwhelms you while you're listening to this, I get it. It feels overwhelming, not because it's not possible, because you haven't learned the skill sets to make it who you're being. So we have the success in business. Why? Because we hustle, we grind, and we sacrifice, and all of our time, energy, and effort goes into the business or career. You can be successful in a career as well. So we're putting out fires. If there's a meeting, we don't show up late. We put it in the calendar. We prioritize it. We make it something that's important. Now, when something is important, you import it into your consciousness. Now, we don't do this intentionally, but because we're prioritizing business and wealth, we by default, by proxy, stop prioritizing our family. We stop prioritizing exercise and nutrition. We stop prioritizing ourselves. Every man has experienced this. You put yourself last. You go to the bottom of the barrel. And the story that subconsciously comes in has been fed to us for generations. Don't show emotion, work hard, provide for your family. So it becomes this really weird dichotomy or this oxymoronic place where we're doing this for our family, we're doing this for freedom, but in the process of chasing wealth, family, balance, and freedom, what do we sacrifice? Our family, health, balance, and freedom. And then what happens is because we are so emotionally drained from putting ourselves last, because we have no time for anything other than work, we are burnt. We are burnt out physically and emotionally. And that's when we take out our aggression and our stress and our fears and our anger and our suppressed emotions on the people we care about the most. Because in those places, we are safe. What also happens for a lot of men is they come home, they don't feel safe. At work, even though it's stressful, they're in control to some degree. They come home not to peace, but they come home to a war zone. Let me give you an example. I was sacrificing everything for my family. 6 months after my daughter was born, my wife pulls me aside. She's got tears streaming down her face, and she is so upset and distraught. She can't breathe. She's taking these rasping breaths. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? She looks me in the eyes and says, I can't do this anymore. I'm doing everything on my own. You're never around. I don't know if we're going to work out. Now, what do most men do in this situation? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
I'm doing everything for you.
Yeah.
Now, everything I just shared is happening subconsciously. How many of you listening right now, you're driving home from work and go, how am I going to fuck up my marriage today? How am I going to yell at my wife? How am I going to express my stress? How am I going to be an angry alcoholic? None of it happens consciously. No one plans it. It simply happens because you are stuck in the prison of sacrifice and business. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you know what? If they're not driving home thinking that, they might be thinking, okay, now I'm just going to go home and I just want to escape. I just want to be in my own zone. I just want to watch TV. I just want to eat some food. I just want to rest and not have to pour out anymore because I've been pouring out so much. Or they could be on their way home thinking, you know what? We're not going to make love again. I'm not really going to be connected to my kids. I don't really have time in between meetings. If I see it, it could be the addiction side of things, which I know we're going to talk about in a few moments. But it could also be the fact that they're just hiding or suppressing inside a shell, not really being themselves. And there's this quiet disconnection that's destroying their marriage, right?
That's the word, brother. It's disconnection, and it's not intentional. Every man craves connection, but we are energetically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually drained. So how can we give our loved ones what we want when we are empty within ourselves? Okay. I'll tell you the answer, by the way.
Yeah, let's go to the answer. But again, also let's assume that a lot of people that are listening, they've got I've got good health.
Yep.
I'm doing well financially. Yep. My relationship is not bad. My life is good, but I want great. Can you talk to us about those people?
Yeah, well, those people are the most empowering to work with. And anyone listening who is at that level, I commend you, I see you, and I respect you. Now, anyone who hears that and gets triggered by it or feels like it's not possible, I see you, I hear you, I respect you. For those people that are living a life that's good, understand that that can be, not always, it can be a dangerous place. I work with a lot of men who are worth 50 to 100 to $200 million. That to many people is a lot of money. And they fall into this trap where they go, yeah, I'm working out 3 or 4 days a week. My business is going pretty well. My relationship's okay. And they fall into this really dark place of, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm okay. How was your day? Not too bad.
Complacency,
yes. Now, there's nothing wrong with genuinely being happy with where you're at and not wanting more. The trap I see a lot of men fall into, it's a similar trap to what happened to me just a few years ago, is we stop expanding, we stop growing, and we feel like we're trapped or stuck. So to those men, ask yourself this question, and this question will apply to every man or woman alive, is am I genuinely happy and fulfilled with every core area of my life? So the way you ask that question is you ask yourself, out of 10, honest, brutal truth, how is my peace out of 10? 1 is I'm about to jump off a bridge. 10 is I'm a Buddhist monk. Then ask yourself, what is my purpose, my direction, my connection to my drive, my source out of 10? Ask yourself, how is my productivity out of 10 each day? How productive am I truly in all endeavors, family, business? Ask yourself, what is my presence out of 10? You can be successful and have a good life and have no presence and constantly anxious about the future or worrying about the past. Then ask yourself the next two questions, the most important. Genuinely, what is my joy out of 10? My 4-year-old daughter woke up this morning at 4:30 going, Dad, let's go exercise. She comes to CrossFit with me. She's so joyful for life. What is your joy out of 10? Your genuine experience of wide-eyed wonderment like a child. And then finally, the most important one. What is your level of connection with your partner, man, woman, with your children, if you have them, with your team, but most importantly, with yourself? Now, most men, this is not all men, but most men who are good or in a good place, their scores are like a 5 to a 7. Now, if you're happy with a 5 to a 7, amazing. Don't worry about what anyone else on Instagram or me or anyone's doing. You get to have the life you want. It is your pen you're writing this chapter or book with. Now, let's take it a step further. Let's say you're a man whose life is good, maybe even great, or you're a man on the brink of divorce. The number one thing you need to do, the number one thing you get to do, you don't need to do anything, is simply get to the fucking truth. Get out a pen and paper and write these 4 words down. Body, mind, balance, which means relationships, and wealth. So wealth is your business, career, bank balance, investments. Balance is your relationships, your time, your connection. Mind is your spirit, your soul, your thoughts and your emotions. Body is your energetic vehicle, the weapon that you have for life, the vehicle. So now you have these 4 words, body, mind, balance, and wealth. And ask yourself the simple question, what's not working in my body? And get brutally honest, like get to the fucking truth. Most men I talk to, yeah, my health's okay. Brother, you look down, you can't see your penis anymore. That's not okay. Not because I care if you're fat, all power to you, but that is unhealthy and that is not a great example. What's not working in your energy, your sleep, your hydration, your nutrition? What's not working? Get to the truth. In your mind, what's not working with your thoughts? What's not working with your emotions? Where do you feel trauma? Where do you have limiting beliefs, thoughts that disempower you? Get to the truth. Write it all down. What's not working in your balance? For most men whose marriages are good, have you stopped taking her out on dates? Do you argue about petty things? Do you feel a lack of respect, appreciation, or love? Are you disconnected? What sort of father are you? Are you a good father or a great father? Write down what's not working in your wealth. Most men, I have no time. I'm constantly busy. I'm putting out fires. I have unreliable staff. How many times have we heard this? Now, this in itself, 80% of men listening right now won't do. Because it's easy to suppress the truth. Because there is pain to look at yourself in the mirror and say, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. It's easier to sweep it under the rug. Now, as a man, when you do not get to the truth about your pain now and go through the pain of fixing it, guess what happens to the pain? It grows and grows and grows and grows. And that small pain of having that conversation with your wife, that small pain of getting the fuck up in the morning and working out, turns into a much larger pain. Heart attack, divorce. 50% of marriages end in divorce. There's now pain and later pain. The number one thing I recommend to all clients, every man that comes to us, every man listening, get a pen and paper out and get to the fucking truth and stop lying to yourself. And I know that's difficult. It took me jumping off a balcony and almost losing my wife. You can hear it on a podcast and choose something different.
Boom. You know what I love? Conversations like this, when there's a real tangible opportunity to transform. So listeners, viewers, men, ladies, if you're listening, you're going to send this to your man, right? Or to your male friends. But take the opportunity. So I always, when I pause when I get to this point, because Tony's just given us a formula to self-assess. So you got 2 choices right now. You just listen to this and just keep on flowing. Maybe you're in the car or something. And then you put a mental note. Later, you're going to go back to it, okay? And you're going to do this exercise. Or 2, you're going to pause this. You're going to go back another 5 minutes and when he goes through the 4 pillars that he just mentioned, you pause, you write it down, and then you literally do the self-assessment. This is a free coaching tool that he's offering right now. So option 1 is you just listen. Option 2, you go back and you do it, and you get a real thorough assessment of what's really, really going on in your life right now.
Yeah.
Toni, that's brilliant, brother. I love that. Thank you so much. And I'm going to do that as well. Not because my life and everything is broken, but because I know that there's an opportunity for me to become more conscious and more empowered as a man by doing that exact exercise. So I want to ask you.
Can I just say a point on that really quickly? Sorry
Please,
to cut
brother.
in.
Of course, man. Jump in.
This is why, Dr. Espen, you have the success you have. And I want everyone listening right now to hear what he just said. He has so much that we would probably all desire. I've seen him in person. If you ever meet this guy, come to his events for sure. He is jacked. He looks and feels great. He's full of energy. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. You are an embodiment of body, mind, balance, and wealth. But you know what's amazing about you and anyone listening who does this is there's more out there for you. You don't need more. You're detached from needing it, but you desire in your soul to be better, and you're going to implement the steps I just shared, which is why you have the success. And so many men play the blame game. My business is fucked. My wife doesn't want to have sex with me. It's so hard to go to the gym. The blame game kills you. You're taking radical responsibility, and that's why you have what you want. And to anyone listening right now, if you want more, understand no one's coming to save you. Like it's not easy. Nothing worth having is easy, but the fulfillment and power you achieve as a man when you do this exercise, you're one step closer to being the empowered man. So sorry to cut in, but I really want to acknowledge you for what you shared, and it speaks to your character and why you have what you have in life.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I realized for me, I was really stuck in my masculine. So I grew up with 2 alcoholic parents, and my intention was I want to help people. But I didn't recognize until I was an adult that my desire to help people came from a feeling of, if I help people, then I'll feel better about myself. It was a savior complex. It was me being the rescuer. And I realized how I was overcompensating, masculine, working, hustling, grinding, broken relationships, multiple women at the same time and whatever else. And then I kind of started growing up, emotionally and spiritually, and I realized how disconnected I really was.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And it's been a lot of years of sitting with myself, learning how to cry, learning how to feel, learning how to really, really honor the feminine. Like, you've got a wife, you got 2 daughters. This is just the most heart opening thing. When I first became a father 6, almost 7 years ago, my heart just bloomed and I realized how I had been living in my mind.
Yes.
So thank you for that. I really appreciate it, brother. And it's an ongoing thing. And this is where ceremony has been, sitting in sacred ceremony has been incredible. This is where working on myself spiritually has been so, so incredible. This is where emotional intelligence has been so incredible. I want to ask you, when it comes to this whole masculine and feminine balance, it's a thing, right? Because men listening right now, you're either going to be way too polarized in the masculine, which means that you're hustling, you're grinding, you're working, you're pushing, you're continuously on the move, and you may be disconnected to the true essence of what it means to feel, to heal, to be present, to be loved, to be gentle, right?
Yes.
Or there are some men that might be too much in the feeling and their balls have gone, metaphorically speaking. So Toni, how do we find this balance between that we need to cultivate this fucking, I am unstoppable. No, it doesn't matter if there's a danger, I can protect my family and I'm capable of domination. And I'm so gentle, not just physically, but within my energy, within my presence, within my being, that I can hold an innocent child and the child feels safe, that I can sit and be with my wife and she feels my presence and my vulnerability and my love. How do we find that balance?
Finding the balance between masculine and feminine for a man can be one of the most difficult things you ever go through. But it doesn't mean it's impossible. And there are some simple steps you can take to achieve that identity of being able to balance very quickly. Let's unpack it. What does it actually mean? The masculine energy for a man is the doer. It's the hunter. It's the guy who gets after it and who does whatever it takes. Most of us have this identity in business. Of course, there are men who don't, right? It is the action taker. It's the confidence, the assertive man. And the only way you can build that is through evidence. I'll touch back on what that means in a second. The feminine for a man is being able to be in tune with yourself and everyone around you. What does that mean? It means understanding your own emotions. It means understanding what's coming up for you within your body. Listen to the language, coming up for you. It comes up through your body. Emotions are energy in motion, and that motion often gets expressed through explosion, through expulsion towards others. That's hypermasculine. A feminine charged man is able to feel those emotions, work through them as they come up, understand them, not judge them, make peace with those parts of himself, and then do the same with others. So let me unpack how we can build the evidence of masculine and how we can also tap into the feminine. The masculine version of Toni would get very angry and judgmental towards his wife. I remember running a business, putting out fires, dealing with a team. I'm hyper masculine. I come home, the house is a mess, dishes in the sink. My wife's upset about something quote unquote stupid. Hyper masculine Toni will instantly go into judgment, and then I will either not talk to her about what the problem is, or I will yell at her or get angry. Now, I get angry because the dishes are not done. By getting angry, do I get closer or further away from what I want? The answer is simple. So I used to do this towards my wife. And then a lot of men who are listening right now, if you're hyper masculine, you are judgmental towards your wife or children, you get angry, you express negative emotions, and you actually hurt the people you care about. It's a destructive masculinity. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. That's a word thrown out by all the I'm going to say feminists out there right now. I believe in polarity. I believe we need both roles, but that toxic thing I don't believe in, but there's destructive masculinity, right? What you want to master as a man is being able to be assertive, confident, powerful, while also bringing in the feminine, right? While bringing in the calm and the communication and emotional intelligence. So what happened with me was I'd come home and get upset at my wife. Then I'd blame her for everything. And then my wife one day said to me, I don't feel emotionally safe. Now, if you've ever heard this as a man, you probably have no idea what your partner's talking about, right? What she's saying is, I don't feel safe to express my emotions. I don't feel safe to share things with you because you always want to fix them. Hyper masculine. Now, what ended up happening in my journey was my wife and I would have this thing called a weekly love meeting. Hey, buddy, how are you? I love that. It's amazing. The weekly love meeting was when we'd talk about what am I doing that's creating a lack of love, appreciation, support, understanding, or respect. We call that laser focus, LASUR, love, appreciation, support, understanding, and respect. You come home, you're stressed as fuck, Toni. You bring this energy in of like the destroyer. We just want the calm man. Okay, I took that feedback on. Didn't happen overnight. I got triggered. I got angry. I got defensive. I put up my shield. Over time, through that feedback from my wife, through knowing that I was part of the problem, I started to take a breath before I came home. So how do we now stop being that guy that yells or gets angry about fucking dishes? Like, we live in a first world country. Who cares, right? We have to tap into the feminine. The feminine for me started with actually understanding what emotions were coming up for me. An exercise I began to do every morning, it's one of the first things we teach our clients, no matter what level they're at financially, is understanding your thoughts and feelings. So I'd start to write down, what am I thinking about today? First thing in the morning. I've got that job to do. My wife didn't do this. We haven't had sex in a while. Then what am I feeling today? It's a really difficult question for most men to ask. I'm feeling a little bit stressed today. I feel a bit anxious. I've got a podcast with Espen. I'm excited. And I started addressing my thoughts and feelings. Now, what began to happen for me was because I was bringing awareness to my feelings, feminine, I started bringing awareness to when they came up as well. Now, normally when you feel emotions as a man, you suppress them. You feel angry, then you get angry at yourself for feeling angry. You feel afraid and you're like, no, I don't want to be afraid. So you go do something to distract yourself. When you tap into the feminine, as an emotion comes up, You pause. You don't do more work. You slow down and breathe. When I slow down and breathe, I get all the answers I need. That was on my fridge for 3 years. Again, none of this happened overnight. Everything I'm sharing is a skill set. Anyone can master it. So I start to feel anger. Oh my God, I'm feeling angry again. Take a breath. I check in with my stories. Why am I upset at my wife? Because there's dishes in the sink. What's the story around that? She doesn't care. I've been working hard all day. She doesn't appreciate me. Well, how do I know that story is true? Well, I don't. Well, how many stories could there be for why that happened? She could be depressed. She could have not slept last night. Do I know? I don't. So I start having these conversations with myself. Now I'm tapping into my feminine. I calm down. I'm feeling angry. When my wife's angry at me, that's a mirror for me. Oh my God, what a light bulb. So I now come home and I am angry and triggered about the dishes, but I choose a different action and reaction. As a man, there are 4 things you can control. Almost everything else is external. You can't control the external. You can control your thoughts, the words or language in your head, your emotions. You actually have quite a lot of power to shift through emotions and choose different emotions. Your thoughts and stories create your emotions, by the way. Your thoughts and emotions then drive actions and reactions, and often those actions and reactions happen without thinking. They're subconscious. Have you ever driven in a car before? You're looking at the dashboard for like 30 seconds. You look up and you go, shit, I haven't looked at the road. But you don't crash because your subconscious programming is driving you. So let's tie this all together because that was a lot of words. The masculine is go, 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 attack, hunt, kill, fuck. We need that in the gym. We need that in business. We need that in certain areas of our life. An empowered man is able to tap into masculine. And then when he's with his family, when he's having a difficult conversation with a team member, he's able to go into feminine. He's able to breathe, understand his thoughts and emotions, reword his stories, and show up with empathy, curiosity, and understanding, combined with assertiveness and confidence. And that's the secret. And I'll share a story on how you do this. There was an argument that was about to happen in my marriage. I think our daughter was 1.5 years old. And my wife was yelling at my daughter, yelling at me. I just walked through the door. Now, like most men, I'm like, for fuck's sake, are you serious, woman? I've been working all day. No judgment. I don't mean those words. That was my story. Now, I would normally react masculine. I took a breath and I didn't react. I chose to just slow down and breathe. She kept going. I sat in it. I didn't let her walk all over me, but I just was, how can I understand her? While she's in this state, how can I be empathetic and understanding? She's obviously struggling. So I get down on her level. She's on the little child's table. I look her in the eyes and I say these exact words verbatim. Babe, I understand that you're stressed and overwhelmed right now. I know you've had a hard day and you don't get to speak to me like that. I'm here to support you. I'm here if you need me. I'm going to be right in the kitchen, but just understand I'm here for you. And that is not how we communicate. Now, normally I would have yelled and reacted, but I was able to combine empathy and understanding. I hear you. I see you with, and not but, and you don't get to speak to me. Listen to the tonality. Within 5 minutes, my wife walks over to me. She would never apologize. And because I had the masculine and feminine lined up, she gives me a hug, tears streaming down her face. They're like happy, laughing tears. You know the ones I'm talking about? Like, oh, this is so silly. And she says, I'm sorry. I know that you're here for me. And that was a turning point in my relationship. Now let's tie that all together. Everything I just shared is a skill set. There have been many times where I've been an asshole and reacted. And that's what it means to be masculine, assertive, confidence, build the evidence that you can show the fuck up while also being able to be empathetic, curious, and understanding. By the way, women crave that from a man. So powerful.
Awesome. You know, I love the fact that you're making it so tangible because you can talk about the science of the masculine, the feminine, the doing, the non-doing. You know, I call it the electric, the magnetic.
Yeah.
And giving people like the opportunity to listen to this and go through each step and just discern, I think is phenomenal. I love that step. You're like writing down, what are my thoughts and emotions? What am I focusing on today? Like, that's brilliant. Like we should discern that every morning. Okay. So let's now say we're going through this. we're looking at our life. We've done, the order, the 4 steps that we talked about before.
Yep.
And then we begin to realize that there are some things out of alignment.
Yes.
It could be our marriage. It could be our relationship. What do you think in that regard is the number one lie, or let's say where we've missed the mark, where men are destroying their marriage or their relationship? Where is the disconnection?
Yeah, I'll tell you the number one thing. The number one thing that will destroy a successful man's marriage is putting his business and career first and telling himself the story that when it reaches a certain level, then he can reprioritize towards his family and himself.
Oh, dude, I'm just going to get you to say that one more time. If you're a man,
if
listen and feel into this sentence. Is this relevant for you or is it not? Go ahead.
Yeah. The number one thing that will destroy a successful man's marriage is prioritizing his wealth and business and telling himself the story that when it reaches a certain level of success or cash, then he can put his energy and time into his wife, his kids, but also himself. It's a complete fucking lie. And I'll tell you right now, I lived that lie for the last 7.5 years of my life. It's only the last year that I've truly become what I'm sharing on this podcast. I'm not perfect, but I'll tell you right now, when you prioritize yourself as a man, you wake up early and you have a morning power up routine that puts you in a place of presence, peace, power and purpose, joy and connection before you start your workday, before you engage with your loved ones. You power yourself up. It's like putting armor on. Now, guess what? That requires a sacrifice and investment of time, which means you're not investing time in the business, time in your career. Then throughout the day, as things come up, you slow down. You go to the gym in the morning. You exercise throughout the day if you need to. You take a break during the day and actually eat some lunch and sit in presence. At the end of the day, before you engage with your family, you reflect on the day. You ask yourself, what triggered me today? What challenges came up today? What can I learn from today? What are my most important tasks tomorrow? You plan the next day instead of showing up with chaos, right? All of this, by the way, is again, it's steps and it's a skill set. We just spent 250 grand on an app breaking down how to put yourself first. And I'll tell you right now, your relationships and balance and your wealth and business can be very successful while sacrificing your body and mind. But it will never, I will use global language here, it will never last, ever. How many of you listening right now, when you started your marriage or relationship, it was beautiful. It was fun. It was joyful. You were having sex every day. You were connected. You understood each other. You were on the same page. You had a vision for the future. Now it feels a bit lifeless. It feels like you're disconnected. Maybe you're sleeping in the same bed, but facing different directions, 6 inches apart, but 6 miles disconnected. How many of us feel like we're roommates instead of soulmates? How many of us feel like our children don't know us? Why? Because we're chasing success. And it's so ironic and it's so simple to say, but so hard to believe. When you put your body first, you weaponize your body. It is an energized machine. You have the energy to go for days. You come home after a long day, you're fucking good to go when your mind is bulletproof. The body is the weapon. The mind is the shield. It's bulletproof. You're unfuckwithable. Guess what happens? You make way more money. But you also do it from a frame of peace, presence, joy, not stress and overwhelm. Your marriage is connected. And that's how you have it all. But the lie is that you have to put the business first. It's a complete bullshit fabrication. And I've learned how to build my business around my family, around my mind, around my body. And that has been the most liberating experience. But I'll tell you right now, it's challenging. I get it, brother. Anyone listen, I get it. Until you learn that lesson and become that man who doesn't have to sacrifice everything, things will continue to break. They really will.
Amen. And you know what I love here? That whole morning routine. It's really freaking simple. If you want to be successful, and defining success as in success and fulfillment across all the different parts of life and business that we've discussed, then the morning routine is non-negotiable. So right now, if you're a man, if you're listening, even women, but particularly men, because we're having this conversation, have you had a morning routine in the last 7 days? If so, what is your morning routine? Because if you say, yep, I get up, my phone's on flight mode, I do the thing, I move, I breathe, I meditate, I journal, I get myself ready.
Amazing.
Then chances are you're doing great. If your answer as a man is no, I haven't really, well, then just get to it. You cannot get around success, achievement, and fulfillment across the different areas of life if you don't prioritize yourself in the morning. That means stop having the shit in the evening. Don't stay up late. Go to bed early. Wake up an hour before everybody else and just get to it. I love the analogy. It's like putting your armor on.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest, though, because the routine is an element. It's very difficult to have consistent success across all domains if you don't start your day strong. The way you start your day dictates the entire day. But let's be honest, you can have an amazing morning routine and journal, meditate, breathe, get into a great state, and 2 hours later be met with absolute chaos. Like, it's war for a man. It's absolute fucking war. There's business, stress, employees, taxes, coming home to an upset wife, even though you've shown up. Those are all possibilities. And it's not like the morning routine is a magic bullet that instantly fixes all your problems. It simply allows you to put some armor on. And guess what? You're more likely to get through the day unscathed. You're still going to have problems. The empowered man journey, the quantum journey, the journey for a man to live with power and purpose isn't an easy journey. It's not like you suddenly sing Kumbaya, meditate every morning, and life's easy. No, life is fucking hard for a man. But even though it gets harder, the more success you create, even though balancing all these things can be challenging, even though the weight on the bar gets heavier, you become stronger. It's not that it gets easier. It actually gets harder. It gets more challenging, but you become more capable because you upgrade your capacity. So step 1, clarity. What's not working? Step 2, commitment. Do the morning routines, exercise, put yourself first, have the difficult conversations. Step 3, consistency. Anyone can commit for a day or two. How do you commit for the next 365 days, no matter what? I used to walk 10,000 steps a day. It's 8 p.m. I've done 8,000 steps. I'm walking around my fucking living room because if I say I'm going to do something and I don't follow through, I can lie to my wife, I can lie to my team, but I can't lie to myself. There's this little boy in me that knows that I'm full of shit. That knocks my confidence down. That makes me feel like I'm not enough because I'm lying to myself. So clarity, commitment, consistency. When you are consistently doing what you get to do in all these areas, which you can do, it's not hard. It's actually quite simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. That's when you take control, the 4th C. Oh shit, I'm in control of my thoughts. I can control these emotions. I can control my actions and reactions. Holy shit. And when you have that control, you upgrade your capacity. This water bottle right now, it's 1 liter, half a gallon, whatever it is. If it overflows, it gets everywhere. This gets bigger and bigger. Your capacity for stress, your capacity for pressure, your capacity for difficult conversations, your capacity to fit everything in, it grows because you have armor, power, and control. Now, once you've got these lined up, clarity, commitment, consistency, control, and capacity, those line up for long enough, you now have deep connection. Like, you are a connected man, and you're not just connected to your wife and kids. Sure, you get more love, more intimacy from your partner. She sees you as the hero. Your children, they're inspired by you, but you also connect with yourself. Like, for a man to look in the mirror and genuinely, hand on heart, say, I love the man staring back at me. I am so proud of the man staring back at me. I'm not arrogant. I'm the man, not I'm the man arrogant. I know through my actions, through my integrity, through my beliefs, through how I show up and lead, that I'm the man, and I love the man staring back at me. That is a place of pure bliss. And when you achieve that as a man, life becomes effortless. Most men never get there, but it's so simple to do.
I love this.
That's how I felt when you spoke on my podcast.
But it's so important because there is this I feel for so many people, there's this quiet, silent feeling of disconnection. Okay, I don't feel connected, and it could be across the board. It's interesting to observe at the moment. You talk about this capacity, right? I remember the first time someone sued me, and I was like, oh my God, I have to go to court, and I was like this, and I was freaking out. And then I read a story. I think Donald Trump's been in like 2,000 court cases, and I thought to myself, well, that's nothing. What am I making such a big deal out of? And then, as you get more and more successful in business, like things will just evolve. Not to say that that's an irregular occurrence. It's certainly not. But it's just the first thing that came to mind because I recognized that in itself seemed like such a big deal. Another example is when I was a teenager, got my heart broken. And I'm like, oh, the world's done. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't know if I can go on because I just got my heart broken. I was 20 and she cheated on me. And I was like, that's too much. And now it's like there's other things, but they feel bigger, but I know that I'm going to look back and go, oh, it was wonderful. That was a great learning and growth. You talk about how men aren't weak, but they're emotionally constipated.
Yeah.
Tell me about this. This is such an interesting concept because some of the things that we think might be such a big thing right now may actually just be a part of our growth towards higher states of consciousness. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Men aren't weak. They're just emotionally constipated. And what that means is they don't understand themselves and how they subconsciously show up every day. No man intentionally yells at his children. We feel the shame afterwards. We've all felt it. It is a horrible feeling. You feel like a piece of shit. It's not intentional. Men don't get into arguments with their wife about stupid shit all the time on purpose. It's not intentional. Men don't feel chronic stress and then sedate with drugs, alcohol, or screens on purpose. It's not intentional. It's because we don't understand ourselves. So how do you understand yourself as a man? You get back to the basics of the 4 things you can control. You have thoughts, feelings, or emotions, and those thoughts and feelings dictate your actions and reactions. This is all happening subconsciously without thinking. Now, if you imagine you're on the motorway, you have everyone you love in a bus. Let's say it's a bus so you can fit them all in if there's many people. And you turn right or left, and a truck hits you, and everyone you love dies. Horrible thought. The reason I use that analogy is because you didn't try and hit the truck. You had a blind spot. And often as a man, all you need to do to become emotionally connected to yourself is check the blind spot and to get clear on what's going on within you. So what are the thoughts that show up for me every day? I used to wake up and the first thought in my head was, fuck, I have to go to work. Oh, I had that argument with my wife last night. These sentences in your head are simply language. They're words. You don't wake up going, goo, goo, go, go, like a caveman. There are words inside of your head that have come from your conditioning, your trauma, your childhood. Have you heard these before? Money doesn't grow on trees. I can't find good staff. My wife doesn't appreciate me. It's all just language. So get clear. What is the language that you use each day? Then what are the emotions that you feel? Get into your body. The breath work and meditation, it gets you out of your head and your thoughts and into your body. Anger, fear, sadness, hurt, guilt, shame. Energetically, shame is just above death. You know this. You teach this at your events. So getting clear on your thoughts and emotions and then asking yourself, how are these thoughts and emotions dictating my actions and reactions? And it won't happen overnight. But the more awareness you bring to these blind spots, the more you bring awareness to them as they show up. And what used to take you a week or a month to get over, it starts to take you a day. And then it starts to take you an hour. And you get to a point where nothing can fuck with you for more than 3 or 4 minutes. Now, it's not about becoming a robot. You don't just wake up one day and feel no emotions and nothing can fuck with you. I got a $100,000 tax bill a few weeks ago. I got triggered. I called my accountant. I'm like, this is wrong. You got this wrong. Fix it. No, it's right. I spent 3 minutes being like, I'm feeling angry. This is so frustrating. And then I reframe my thoughts. I tell myself, story, this is bullshit. This is annoying. I'm angry. And I go, aren't I blessed to be getting a $100,000 tax bill? What does that mean? I made money. And everything comes back to your thoughts and emotions. Your perspective is power. Where focus goes, energy flows. That's not just a Tony Robbins quote. That is a mantra for life. You can focus on the past and things you can't control because you can't change them from the perspective of that's not fair, this is horrible, I'm depressed. Or you can choose, because it's a conscious choice, to go, this is painful. I'm only going to reference the past as an opportunity to learn and grow. What if every time something bad, quote unquote bad or negative happened to you, argument with the wife, tax bill, employee leaving, you address the story and asked yourself the simple question, how is this an opportunity to learn and grow? If you can see the past from that frame, then there are no problems. There are simply challenges that empower you to learn and grow. That's focus number one, past. Focus number two, future. What do most of us do in the future? We worry, we get overwhelmed, we get stressed. I've got all this stuff to do, I can't keep up, deadline, problem, challenge. What if you reference the past as an opportunity to learn how to prioritize, plan, schedule, and execute? My wife still struggles with this. Yesterday, she's like, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm like, what? Let's write a list of everything you need to do. What's the number one thing? Let's just do that. Let's park the other stuff in a garage on that piece of paper and grow. At Empowered Man, we have a thing called a MIT list, a most important task list, and a hit list, a highly important task list. This is all in our app as well. So every day, as soon as you have a task come up for the future, you put it in your hit list. It's now out of your head. It's stored and parked in the garage of a different consciousness. Every day, we have 4 most important tasks. If I can just achieve these 4 things, it was a good day. Now, could I have done more? Yes, I could have worked to 7 p.m. But yesterday I chose to finish at 2 p.m. That's so wild for me, Espen, 2 p.m. And I went to the beach with my family because I was able to use the future as a compass, not to be stressed about, but to prioritize, plan, schedule, and execute, meaning I do it. So focus 1, we focus on the past, depression, overwhelm, anger. This happened to me. We hold on to that moment of time for weeks at a time sometimes. If you have a wife, you know what I'm talking about. When they say, you did that thing 2 years ago, right? It's not intentional. We stay stuck in the past or we're worried about the future. Now listen to this. The average lifespan in Australia, I know you have global listeners, is 82. Now let's say you're listening to this right now and you are 39 years old. That means there are 43 years left? I think I got the math right. Now, if you spend 50% of your time in the past and 40% of your time in the future, that means 10% of your time's in the moment enjoying life. If the math is confusing you, 82, how much time do you spend in the past? How much do you spend in the future? Take your current age off that number 82. For most men, they have 3 to 4 years left of present life. That should terrify you. And all of this can be shifted by simply bringing awareness to your perspective. What am I focusing on? Am I focusing on problems and challenges in the past? Am I focusing on all the shit I have to do in the future? How can I bring my perspective to the moment? And how can I look at everything from a frame of gratitude, opportunity, and growth? Everything in your life is happening for you. That is not some motivational mumbo jumbo. That is a belief you can choose to believe. And I still get triggered. Tax bill comes up. Fuck. All right. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, whoever brought this to me. My wife's upset tonight when I get home. I come from the podcast. I've had an amazing day. I'm on fire, brother. She's crying because the kids are not acting how they should. I can be angry and upset at her. I can focus on how annoying it is, or I can just fucking be a man, own my shit, show up with feminine curiosity, empathy, and love, and be assertive and support her by choosing a different perspective. Does that make sense?
It's fundamental. It doesn't just make sense. It makes for a great life, honestly. And this is the opportunity that we have to make those decisions. What are we focusing on? I remember, I think you and I might have briefly mentioned this, the book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. And the concept in the book, Outwitting the Devil, is that 98% of people are drifters, as in the devil, quote unquote darkness, quote unquote negativity, has hijacked their mind so that they're focusing on the things that disempower them. And only 2% of sovereign individuals are in that C, which you referred to, which is control. They have control over their thoughts. They have control over their emotions. Again, it doesn't mean that they suppress the, I'm just going to feel great. They allow it to flow through them, but then they take charge. Yes. And so this just makes so much sense how we can make that transition and come into that empowered state. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's really super important. And again, if this feels right, if this sounds good to you, then you might want to go back and listen to this again. As a man, you want to sit down in an uninterrupted space, maybe get up early in the morning or just get in your own space and listen to this entire podcast, pause it, write down the notes, and then go and check out Tony's work, The Empowered Man, which we'll talk about in a few moments. Tony, there's a quote. Now, I know you would have heard this before, and I'm going to quote it again because I think it's really pertinent right now. So I'll share the quote, and then I'll share my thoughts, and I'll hand it over to you. Mm-hmm. The quote is by most commonly known. It comes from different people, but I believe originally came from Michael Hopf from the post-apocalyptic novel called Those Who Remain. Interesting. And it goes like this. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. What times are we in, and what's happening to men?
I want to preface this by saying I'm not trying to be alarmist here. As a man, it's going to get fucking harder and harder and harder and harder. It's going to get harder in your marriage. It's going to get harder as a father. It's going to get harder to build wealth and provide for your family and create freedom. Now, that's not a bad thing, because the reality is most men are going to go to the path of least resistance and go for the easy route. And they don't realize this, and it's not their fault, but that's going to create weakness within them. If you want to be a sovereign, empowered man, you want to chase the difficult things. You want to reframe the perspective around hard things as challenging things, because when you are challenged as a man, you grow. When I go to the gym and I do bicep curls, I'm putting my muscle under stress. I'm destroying my muscle so that it can regrow, rebirth, and come back stronger. As a man, whether you like it or not, from generations before us, our role has been to suffer. We would go to war and die for our families. We would hunt the tigers and the lions. We don't live in that society anymore, most of us. There are no lions or tigers to hunt. We have pretty good lives. Even those of us who are struggling the most financially, we have much better lives than any other generation before us. So we've become these men that chase the path of least resistance. We get the shitty food. We don't go to the gym. We don't have the difficult conversations. Why? Because those things create pain. When I was at CrossFit this morning, it was painful. I wanted to quit. But there was also a perspective that the suffering that I'm currently in is there to serve me. And one of the most powerful skills you can learn as a man is to chase the difficult things. When I don't want to have a difficult conversation with my wife, I have a 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I do it. And it's painful. She triggers me. I allow her to trigger me. She says something that challenges my ego. That is painful. But the pain of not having that conversation, compounded of avoiding 100 of them, is she says, I don't love you anymore, which happened in my first big relationship where I was going to propose to my wife. When I'm at the gym, there are racks where I can put the barbells on. I always put it on the highest rack because that's the most difficult thing I can do. When I walk past a piece of rubbish, I go back and pick it up. When I have a trolley at the supermarket, I take it back and I put it back. And you see everyone else has left their trolleys there. I'm not doing that just because I want to be a good person. I'm doing it because it builds my character. And confidence for a man comes from evidence that you deserve that confidence. It's from doing the difficult shit and proving to yourself that you are strong enough to overcome anything. Because think about it, when you can develop that skill set, that mindset, that identity of I embrace challenge, life can be suffering. And I fucking love that because it's an opportunity to learn and grow. You will outwork and outperform 99% of men, not just in business, but in marriage. You will be the prize for your wife. My wife said to me on Sunday, it was so fucking powerful. She was struggling with trauma. She microdosed some magic mushrooms and she was going through a bit of a journey and it was beautiful. She was crying and broken and trying to reintegrate. I had my whole day planned out for Toni. I was going to prep my week. I was going to do this and that, go meditate. I parked it. I chose to park it. And I sat with her in that discomfort. And I supported her, and I didn't try to fix it, even though I wanted to so badly. I wanted to fix her. And I sat with her, and I was empathetic and curious while also being assertive and actually guiding her. And at the end of the day, when the kids were asleep, she said, it made me tear up because I don't normally get praise, and it's one of my love languages. And I don't need it, but I desire it. And she said, I'm so lucky to have you. Like, you're amazing. And I want to hear that. I don't like when people say it, but I want to hear it. You're amazing. I'm like, babe, I don't know what I'd do without you. And then I said, we're a team, and this is what we're in for together. And it was so beautiful. Now, again, I want to make something very clear. I'm not sitting here saying I'm God and saying I'm perfect, guys. There have been many moments where I haven't had that. But one of the best skill sets I've learned is to really embrace the challenges, because society as a whole, there's many gaps. The governments, the society as a whole, money's going to get harder to make. AI, there's so many things we can dive into. Get ready for a rough time, but it won't be rough for you if you be a man who goes through those hard times before they come. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Dude, this is perfect. And this is the conversation that I wanted to have, because again, as you said, it's not for scarcity, but honestly, you look back and men in the past, we've had to be real freaking men. People have had to survive war and famine and all kinds of horrible stuff. And now it seems that, during COVID, everyone just could sit home and get free money. Not in every country, but in most countries, certainly in Australia and many other countries. And we started becoming weak. So I just wanted to find these 4 different points of the conversation, because I, for one, believe that this is the time to man up. And I don't mean just polarized into the masculine. No, we've talked about it. You understand or understand this whole concept now. It's about the strength and like owning the beast, so you can protect your family and be soft and gentle and present and curious when needed. But I believe this is the time to really protect our families. So hard times are described as war, scarcity, instability, uncertainty in the marketplace. Yes, we have it. Is there a war brewing? Oh, yeah, it certainly is in many ways. And instability. Is there instability? Well, I think that's an understatement. So we are. Make no mistakes, either in hard times or coming into hard times, highly likely.
Yeah.
Okay. The old saying, it's better to be a warrior in the garden than the gardener in the war. This is not a time to be complacent. This is not a time to, allow yourself to just not get prepared. Okay. So again, not scarcity thinking, but let's prepare as men, as warriors, because we've allowed many, not everybody, but many of ourselves, or at least parts of ourselves, to be weak. Okay. So that's hard times. Strong men. Okay. This is the emergence of resilience, building a power and presence, and being like building a prosperous life and protecting our loved ones. Okay. Then we have good times, which is comfort, abundance, which if there's too much of it, which is what a lot of people have had, it's eventually going to foster complacency and entitlement. Okay. I see this in the marketplace. I got to recruit now. And it's like mostly like if we hire someone from overseas, like virtual assistants and things like that, they're normally got 2 jobs pretending to have 1, sometimes 3. And I'm not generalizing. I'm saying this is from experience. Okay. If we hire people locally, it's like there's an entitlement in the market, right? There is this interesting thing that's been happening, right? So that's good times. And then weak men, they lack the grit that's forged in hardship. Right? They allow decline, they get complacent, and this creates the new cycle of hard times. So, Toni, back to you. Where are we at? How do we prepare?
It's a great question. So we are in a world right now where complacency is running rampant, and so many men are stuck in this frame that we shared earlier of I'm good, I'm a good dad, I'm a good provider, I'm a good husband, I'm good in my business. And I want to make something very clear. If you truly believe that and you truly know in your heart that you've got shit covered in all areas, then great. But I would say 98% of men are full of shit. There's a difference between good and great. So even during easy times or good times, as a man, you should be looking for that next challenge. You should be expanding yourself I don't want to use the word should. That's probably the wrong frame. You get to be expanding yourself to prepare for the next level. Let me ask you this question. How many men say this? And have you heard this before? My marriage ended overnight. My business ended overnight. Oh, it just came out of nowhere. No, it fucking didn't.
Nope.
When my ex-partner left me, she said 6 months prior to leaving, I don't think we're going to work out. As a man, I said these words. Don't say shit like that. I swept it under the rug. I didn't see the signs of the hard times that were to come. Then 6 months later, she sits me down a week before I'm going to propose. And I'm a good man. I'm providing. We have everything we want. I'm doing well. I'm good. Toni, I don't love you anymore. Then I've got this massive hole in my chest, blaming her for 3 months, sedating myself with drugs, alcohol, gambling, numbing myself, suicidal thoughts. Where did this come from? Where do these hard times come from? I wasn't prepared for war. As a man, look at your life as a war zone, not from a frame of stress, by the way, not from a frame of, I'm going to die, from a frame of, I'm prepared for the war, and I'm going to be the warrior in the garden, instead of the gardener in the war. An empowered man, we have a weekly war map. Each week, we reflect on the week. We look at the challenges and we set targets for the following week that are going to push us past what we think is possible. Every month, we have a monthly mission. Every quarter, we have a quarterly battle plan. Listen to the language. My life is a war zone, and I love that. I love the fact that when I come home after a long day, my wife might be upset. I'm entering a new battlefield. But I also know through the way I've forged myself that I'm going to show up to that battlefield prepared. And guess what? I might die, but I've done everything I can to be the man I know I can be. So as a man, ask yourself this question. Do you truly believe that if you lost everything today, you lost your wife, your kids, your business, your wealth, that you would be okay, that you would figure it out? If the answer is no, you got to go through some harder times and prepare yourself. When my partner left me, I was fucked, man. I was so broken that that hole in the chest you had when you were 20, I think you said. It is a massive gaping hole. Most men come to us when their marriage is ended. I know for a fact with Rosie, my wife, that if she was to leave me today, leave me and take my 2 children, that I can put my hand on my heart and say, I've done everything I can to be the man she wants and deserves. And even though it would break me, even though it would hurt me, even though emotions would run through my body rampant, I would cry, scream, I would know that I've done what I got to do. And most men cannot say that. It is a world of war. It is a world, maybe it's not war of guns and muskets. Maybe it's a war spiritually inside yourself. Maybe it's a war in your business or hiring staff. Maybe it's a war in your marriage where you're disconnected. Maybe it's a war in your own mind. And that is not a bad thing. When times are hard, be prepared for them by creating hard times before they exist. Push yourself. When you don't want to get out of bed in the morning and you said you would to go for that run, for the first time in a while, punch your way out of bed and choose something different. Boom, you've built resilience. The next time you and your wife are arguing and you just want to fucking fix it, take a breath and ask her, how can I make you feel understood? Boom, you've built resistance and resilience. And you're creating these micro moments of challenge. You're learning and growing as a man. And that's when, by the way, your default state goes from disempowered to empowered. A strong man isn't just somebody who can lift weights or be powerful physically. A strong man is in a default state of peace, presence, power, purpose, joy, and connection, despite what's going on externally. That is a place of power.
Dude, I love it. And I love how you speak of how we can actually lean into discomfort, because I've been talking about this for years and I can actually recognize myself within this conversation as much work as I've done. There are parts of me that have become complacent. In the last couple of months, no. In the last year, I've been traveling all over the world, working with some of the most wealthy people on the planet, eating the finest foods. And I recognize that I've been kind of letting my fasting slip a little bit. Yeah. I've recognized that instead of water fasting on long haul flights, I've been eating a bit of plain food. I recognize that I've been sleeping in a bit and neglecting my morning routine from time to time. So this is really useful for me as well. So I just want to say that, as Toni has alluded to, neither Toni, myself, or anyone else are perfect. But I think the conversation really is for us here is like, how can we take that next step into deliberately, and this is the key, getting uncomfortable, like CrossFit in the morning. It's more comfortable sleeping in. Like I recently finished a 7-day water fast. Guess what? It's more comfortable eating food, but that's why I don't do it, because I have dominion over the flesh, because I want to be in charge. Toni, I want to talk about your method, okay? We're coming to an end. We've got a couple of questions to go. I want you to break down your method for me, because you've given us many brilliant frameworks. Again, we can go back and listen to this, share this with those many men. If you're a woman even, share this with the brothers out there. Share this with the people who might, with the men who might be a prince, but they're looking to be a king. They might be someone that's complacent, but they want to get freaking powerful, right? Share this with them, because this could literally change not only the man's life, but it could really be life-changing for the entire family unit. Toni, what's your method? Break it down for us, please.
Yeah, so I'll break it down in two different parts. First of all, what is the before and after? And then how do we get from A to B? So typically in body, mind, balance, and wealth, most men are suffering in some of these areas. Physically, they're low on energy, they're burnt out, they are unhealthy, unfit, they've let themselves go physically, overweight, or they just lack energy. Now, you can have that dialed, by the way, and have the other areas not working. They're all connected. Then in our mind, most men struggle with negative thoughts. They can't switch off. They're overthinking every single day. They feel this intense pressure and stress, and they don't know how to manage their emotions. So their emotions hurt them and the people they love. Everyone's had that experience where you yell at someone you care about, or even an employee, and they quit. We don't know how to manage ourselves in our mind and our emotions. In our relationships, we're disconnected, less intimacy, less sex, less appreciation, less respect, but also more arguments, more resentment, more silent treatment, maybe even divorce or family breakdown, and knowing that you could be a better father. And in the before and wealth, even if you've got money, stressed, no time, no balance, unreliable staff, and sacrificing everything. That's the before. That's point A. Going back to the beginning of the podcast, what is the truth in those areas for you? Point B is the exact opposite. You wake up every day full of energy. You're fit, healthy, strong. Your body is a weapon. Your mind is bulletproof. You're unfuckwithable. You're in control of your emotions. You feel what you need to feel, masculine and feminine. You've got it dialed emotionally and mentally. Relationships, beautiful connection. Great father, role model, hero, leader for everyone around you. People look up to you at work. People admire you. People talk about you and how valuable you are to them. You and your wife or partner or husband are intimate. You're deeply connected, not just having sex or fucking, but making love. Spiritual soul connection. That is the balance piece. And the after for wealth is you make way more money, not just revenue, profit. Most of our clients increase their profit by 30 to 100 grand within a few months. You have more balance, you have more time, you have systems and processes, and you have freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, but also emotional and mental freedom. That's the before and after. So if you're currently in the before camp and you want to get to the after camp, what do you need? It doesn't have to be with me. It doesn't have to be with anyone. It can be with Espen. It can be by yourself. Understand that there are 3 things you need to create lasting change. To get from A to B, the first thing you need is a plan. So what do I do? When do I do it? How do I do it? And that plan has to cater to every area of your life. It has to be customized to your body, mind, balance, and wealth, your relationship, your business, your stress. So imagine you knew what to do in the morning to power up, how to get through the stress of the day, how to have difficult conversations, how to control your emotions. If you knew how to do that, you would have done it. Step 1 of our method, or what anyone needs to succeed, is you need a plan. Clarity. You need clarity. What's not working? Where do you want to go? How do I get from A to B as quickly as possible? The second leg of that stool is accountability. We seem to have this weird lone wolf mentality as men. I've noticed women are a lot more receptive to getting support. Accountability is not doing it on your own. It's having somebody there to hold your hand, not in a negative way. I have a 4-year-old. I think you said you had a 6-year-old. I have to get her to brush her teeth every day. Now, you and I probably don't have to get anyone to brush our teeth because it's become who we are. It's not something you think about. You don't wake up and go, I don't feel like it. It just happens without thinking because you are held accountable. So with us, we focus on men having health coaching, mindset coaching, relationship coaching, business coaching, and emotional control coaching. So have your plan and then have somebody who can help you implement that plan daily. With our clients, it's daily support. The final step is tools and education to make it stick. Espen, you are what I would consider very integrated and successful. Do you ever feel like you have ups and downs? Stressed, not stressed. Relationship challenges, no challenges. Unhealthy, traveling. It's a roller coaster. And for most men, that roller coaster is way more, what's the right word, all over the place. And that is exhausting. And it's not just exhausting for you, it's exhausting for your partner because he or she doesn't know what version of you they're going to get. There's no consistency. Now, this is the fucked up thing about life. There's more information out there than ever before. You could go on ChatGPT, get the plan, get it to hold you accountable. You can go and listen to all of Espen's podcasts, come to one of his events. It will change your life. But most people stay stuck on information, and you don't need more information. You need to stop listening. You need the specific tools and the specific education to create an identity shift. Now, if you imagine a three-legged stool, if one of those legs is missing, what happens to the stool? It falls over, right? So in your body, mind, balance, and wealth, you need a plan. You need to know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, Monday through Sunday. You need to have the accountability to follow that plan until it becomes who you are. And then you need to implement the tools and education to shift who you're being. It's not what you do, it's who you become. And an empowered man, we've perfected that. It's an 8-week process. We've just spent $250,000 on an app that ties it all together. But the number one recommendation I would have is come to one of Espen's events. Reach out to his team. Reach out to a coach. If you like what I'm saying, reach out to me, but stop trying to do it on your own. Because, I've spent over $500,000 on coaching and mentors, and, it shows right through what I have. And most people drive a $50,000 car, but they'll balk at spending $5,000 to actually upgrade themselves. And they wonder why they're struggling. Every year, there's a new phone. There's a new car. We upgrade things. We never upgrade ourselves. So I don't know if that answers your question on my method, but whatever people decide to do, you need those three things.
Awesome. Hey, dude, tell us, for the men out there that are interested in learning about the Empowered Man method, you just tell us a little bit about the app that might be coming if it's not here already. And also, if someone goes to your website, which we'll quote in a moment, what are some of the things that you'll be putting them through for them to, potentially apply to become a part of your community, to learn about your method and so on and so forth? What happens? So one, the app, and two, how does one get enrolled if one wants to consciously have their ass kicked?
I love that. So the app is 9 years of the pain, lessons, and challenges I've gone through. And it is the world's best app for this sort of stuff. I truly believe that, and I'm happy to be challenged on it. It's launching end of July. We've spent $250,000 on it. And what does it do? It has everything in one place on your computer screen, iPad, or phone. So daily habit tracking in the morning, daily AM journal where you literally talk with yourself and have conversations and ask questions, with the library that shows you your memories of where you were a year ago or 6 months ago. It has an evening reflection process where you track your peace, presence, purpose, joy, connection, and you can see your scores going up and down. It has a daily task management system with your most important tasks each day and your highly important task list. It has assessments for every area of your life where you get scores and can see the graphs of what's going on. It has our tribe and community. It has our chat feature with our coaches in it. It has everything: habit tracking, task management, calendar. It's my life's work in one place. And we've gamified the whole system, which I'm so excited about. So you literally level up your avatar. You get points for every action you take, and you reach that next level. You hit your achievements. It tracks your streaks for everything. How many days have you done what you need to do each day? It's my life's work. And I built it for myself. I didn't build it to sell to anyone. I built it for myself and my current client base. I might not even sell it. It might just be for clients, but it's my life's work. In terms of how to reach out, there's 3 ways. So I would highly recommend you go listen to the Empowered Man podcast with Dr. Espen. We'll find out what the episode is, and if we can, drop it underneath. It was so powerful. So Empowered Man podcast, Tony Empowered Man on Instagram. Send me a DM. Tell me what your biggest takeaway was at Tony Empowered Man. And if you want to work with us, elitebusinessman.com. There's an application process. There's a 5-minute video of our best testimonials and events. And it's like a 3-minute quiz. And if you qualify, you can jump on a free session with me personally. I do that all myself at the moment. So those are the 3 ways. But number 1, go listen to the podcast with Espen. It was an absolute banger. And if you want more help, please reach out. Bang on 90 minutes.
Oh, dude, this is so good. This is so good. So if you're a man, and many of you are, and, we want to take that next step into what it truly means to be an empowered man, elitebusinessman.com, Toni with an I, empowered man on socials. I've got one last question for you, brother, straight off the cuff. You ready? All right, here's the question. I want you now to imagine that you are on the world stage. Every sentient being, every being alive is tuning in, watching, fully present with you right now. Take a breath, take a moment. When you're ready, Toni, tell us, what is your message to the world right now?
Your life does not need to be suffering. Your life can be joy, peace, purpose, presence, and connection. You can have it all. And it begins with opening your mind and observing everything. There are no problems, only challenges. Every moment, every challenge, every win or every loss is simply the universe giving you an opportunity to learn and grow. And when you choose to believe what I just shared, it's a choice. You don't have to believe it, but when you choose to believe it, life becomes magical and you will live in prosperity and abundance instead of scarcity and fear, which is where most of the world lives. So if you want to be different to most of the world and be a conscious creator, open your mind up and ask yourself, what would it look like if I tried on these new beliefs?
Boom. Toni Versic, the empowered man himself. Thank you for taking the time, brother.
Thank you, brother. It's been an absolute honor. And I just want to acknowledge you for the work you do. I know I was supposed to be at your next event. Everyone, please go check out his events. My wife isn't ready yet, but we will be at the next one and I'll meet you in person. You are doing God's work, brother. Thank you.
So are you, my friend. Thank you for helping the men sharpen our swords and get ready for whatever might be coming in the world. This is the time to be an empowered man. Toni Versic, everybody.